Brazil is an interesting one in Victoria 3, starting in two hot conflicts. In the South American continent, I think it'll be a perfect opportunity to take a first look. We'll use strategic interests, coercion, and of course, our arms, to try and unify Brazil, restore stability to a somewhat fractured country, and connect it from the Pacific to the Atlantic. Do join me in collaboration with Paradox today at a first look at Victoria 3 as the Brazilian minor power. It's a really fascinating one, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. First and foremost, we need to tidy up two existing wars. Then I'll probably reach out and grab a little bit of extra land before finally making my final push toward my goal of connecting South America, connecting the Atlantic to the South Pacific via a hungry HIPPO version of Brazil. So we have the Ragamufin War already nearly raging down here in Piratini. We'll look to tidy them up fairly quickly. We also have a massive front line along here and 20 battalions to deal with it all. Not a great start, but not terrible either. The politics of Brazil is also something that I'll probably look to reform. At the moment, we have an 11-year-old emperor at the helm. Interesting. And looks like a growing conservative party, strong industrialist and armed forces links as well, though. As far as our buildings are concerned, maybe we get an extra construction center here in the capital. More importantly, though, we should also look probably to the markets. What are we short on? What are we buying a lot of at the moment? Outside of luxury furniture, which I might slap a tax on, we're buying a lot of services, furniture, grain, and fish. So maybe some of these things might be a good idea. Crucially, though, the Ragamufin War is at hand, so we need to try and tidy this up. The military lens is therefore going to be a real focus for my Brazil playthrough here. I think that, first and foremost, we're going to want to mobilize all of our generals, but also probably activate all of our conscripts. As tempting as it is to leave some off, I might just sort of get all these conscription centers online. We need people, and we need them yesterday. I wonder if the strat here is to try and finish off Piratini really quickly and then divert units up here. At the minute, they've got 10 traveling towards it. Let's try and be a little bit greedy. Mobilize, and push both of these ones to this front line. It'll take them 10 days to get there, 19 days. Nope. You know what? I'm going to split them up. And outside of that, we've got buildings ready to go, we've checked our market, we've checked our military. The other thing that I probably want to do as I start these conflicts is find some friends. France is right here, and the Brits are right here. So we could start improving relationship with both of them, actually, just to try and build up a little bit of cohesion, maybe some potential friends, or just to distract them or keep them away from us. Okay, conflict is on. How are we doing down south? First and foremost, in the Ragamufin War, initial fight, whew, it's going our way. Okay, a fantastic result. We are, however, of course, actually repelling an initial push by the Piratini people themselves, though. So once we turn this around, we should be okay to move through. And it looks like now we're going to start winning these battles quite decisively. It might also be worth recruiting another general now, actually, as we start to be a little bit weak on both fronts. I don't really like this. Let's go into the military, recruit another general out of Brazil HQ. We could have an industrialist or someone from the Catholic Church. I think we'll grab an industrialist. And they already have 8 battalions. So now what we can do is get some help to one of these front lines. Let's mobilize these poor sods immediately. And it looks to me like we'll put them up here to the north, I think. They should arrive in around 20 days. Slapping it onto 5-speed for a second, and you can see we've made a breakaway along the coastline down here. And maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. How's this battle going? In our favor. Okay, great. That's working wonderfully. We should be able to get this Ragamufin War over with and Piratini capitulated fairly quick smart. Boom. Speaking of, here's a peace deal. And capitulation was done before I could even sign a peace deal. That's fantastic, not only because it expands our wonderful Brazil out a little bit, but also because it will free up some extra troops. The game has automatically, I believe, routed them, to this front line. And we should now go 2 for 2, which is not half bad at all. Fan-freaking-tastic. And with a little decree from the Emperor and a bit of a loss for his own group, we can get this police force pushed through as well. That, my friends, is a fantastic start. We must be the most aggressive nation in the world. I'm not sure if anybody else is even going to blows quite yet. Okay, we can support some more declared interests, which is probably a good time, actually, for us to look into all of these lenses down the bottom. Most important one for me, for starters, I think will probably be to make sure that we incorporate these states. So let's grab the Amazonas that we've just picked up and chuck that into us. We probably don't need to do any decrees, although we could get people conscripted faster or suppress any turmoil. If we check our declare interest map, we already, thankfully, have interests all the way around here. So whatever way I choose to push to expand Brazil, we can do it. However, we don't have one down here in La Plata. So let's grab that strategic interest as well. We have another one we could whip out if we need to. And it looks like our bureaucracy is just suffering a little bit with the extra costs of incorporating some territories. But that is nothing that a few extra buildings can't fit. Here's looking at you, government administration. Now, part of phase 2 will be to grab a few extra territories and just sort of stop any potential threats from expanding out too far. I feel like Uruguay down here is just asking to be taken. There's a whole lot of other countries that could join the war. I think in this case, we'll have to kind of just almost hope that they don't. We are improving relations with the Brits and the French to try and avoid them joining a conflict. Let's have a look at this diplomatic play and see how it goes. Okay, so we're into phase 2. This is the escalation phase. Nobody has been swayed to join either side. You can see a whole lot of people just won't join me. And the couple that will aren't really worth my time. Not that there's any need, because too late! The war is on! All right, this should be fairly quick for us. If I have a look at my battalions over here, you can see we massively outnumber them. Let's mobilize these guys to the front line and mobilize these guys to the front line. We can probably save a bit of cash and keep the rest in reserves. And how is this going? Looks like we've already grabbed 2. This should be just, yep. Okay, great. Napoleonic warfare has been unlocked. Not that we're going to need that. Well, at least not just yet. There's our peace deal and a couple of other interesting proposals. What's this? The United States wishes to enter a trade agreement with us. We accept. And we also will conquer Uruguay in the process. Fantastic. Okay, that's a much more appealing looking Brazil. We have Bolivia and Peru next door. We also have Argentina, Chile, who could colonize these territories, which are not technically sort of incorporated states. We also have Paraguay down here. What are you up to? Do you have friends? No. Let's also start improving relationship with the Argentinians. We don't necessarily have to take every single little bit. And if we can keep someone on side temporarily, it might make it a little bit easier to flex through and grab some of these other territories. I'm looking at Paraguay and thinking, okay, improving relations. They've got a rivalry with Argentina. They should be a fairly easy take. Let's propose that we puppet them. Great Britain, Argentina, and Chile as potential threats. All right. And we are immediately called into action, which is fine. I'm going to mobilize Mightier Than the Sword! We did it! Have the other side back down in a diplomatic play. Oh, that is fantastic. We've just puppeted them. Welcome to the brilliant green blob that is Brazil, Paraguay. It's great to have you here. Who's next? In fact, to speed this up a little bit more, let's get also some barracks in the Amazon. Oh. Okay. This is who we are. We'll also upgrade our artillery production from cannon artillery to mobile artillery. That'll be great for us. And we have a dedicated police force. Fantastic. This is a really solid start for our Brazilian expansion. I am also eyeing up New Granada up here. What is their deal? In terms of actually developing our state a little bit, we can see it's still furniture, services, clothes that are in really high demand. So as well as building my military barracks, which I think is a great idea, and we'll get some more in the Amazon, I'm also probably going to look to just make sure that everybody has the things that they need to do that. These furniture mills are really basic. We could slam a couple up here. That looks fine to me. Just try and cover off a few sort of shortfalls in the empire, while we obviously continue with our main goal of getting this ocean-spanning Brazil. Okay, New Granada, aka Colombia, Bogota. Let's have a look and see if we can conquer the state. So, we believe that France will side with us. Okay. That's all right. At the start of the play, we'll face New Granada and the Mosquito Kingdom. Not too worried about that. And there are some other potential players that could join in. The most scary one of all being the Brits. The US doesn't look super upfront aggressive, so it's probably just the British who we have to watch out for, but we've got the French on our side. The other thing that I would like to do would be to add some more war goals, right? Conquer more states. Let's grab that one. Let's grab that one. And let's also be really aggressive and actually just add all four. Okay, great. That's quite the war goal. Okay, we're getting near the war phase. Escalation is nearly ended. No party has joined either side, which actually could be a great thing for me. I'm not going to bother to sway people. Let's now get our military mobilized. I want to activate my conscripts, probably just all of them, and mobilize the generals. And war has been declared. Wow. All right, we're making pretty good headway now. You'll notice that Paraguay is coming in to help us out. Go, Brazilian Paraguay. That's fantastic. But also we seem to be winning battle after battle after battle now. After a little bit of a shaky start, we're pushing through and we're making gains, all in the name of Brazil. Oh man, look at that. Brazil victory after Brazil victory after Brazil victory. It's over. It's over. Oh man, that is brilliant. Okay, so we've nabbed a whole load of territory up the top here as well. Great result. Hilariously leaving them a tiny little and actually very important bit in between us. Could you give me this, please? But all in all, a really great result. And this is now also our Central American connection. Going to enact some liquor and tobacco taxes to raise a little bit of extra money back for us, just so that we can keep up these war efforts. Those two territories are nice and all, but I feel that really, in order to feel like I've done a pretty good job at this challenge, or, you know, restored Brazil to some kind of glory, I think I need to punch through out here quite considerably. What we could do is build a little bit of an army, or at least some military developments up here. I wonder if, like we did to Paraguay, we could bully Ecuador into submission. Force it to be our puppet. We believe countries may join their side. Russia, US, Mexico. Loads of friends. Okay. Interesting to think about, anyway. Ooh, and in an interesting race, the Conservatives have been voted out, and the Liberals, the Liberal Party of the Catholic Church and the Industrialists, have been voted in. Okay, cool. This is, I mean, I was envisioning some reform. Is it exactly the reform I was envisioning? Maybe not perfectly, but let's have a look. Okay, so the Liberal Party can get us to 50% legit. Chuck the Conservatives in and it's a bit of a mess, but it works. A Liberal Party backed by the intelligentsia who want to join them, though? Now, this is a path for successful expansionist liberal reform of Brazil. I like it a lot. Speaking of which, actually, with these guys in power, we'll have some new reforms unlocked, including we could push through some schooling. That might be quite good for our people. Private schools is a fairly easy one, 23% chance every 180 days. We've got pretty good support for it. I think we'll bring private schools in. While we're doing that, we can mess around a little bit, at least, with the interest groups inside of Brazil. You'll remember, of course, that our leader is part of the intelligentsia, and we can bolster or suppress different interest groups. Now, in this case, it's probably in our best interests if we again remind ourselves of which groups are where. It's the landowners who have a lot of power outside of government. It's for that reason that I might look to suppress them and free up a little bit of authority to do so. Oh, and while I was busy reforming my government, Peru, Bolivia have decided to become one place. Interesting. Okay. We've got a new military headquarters in Gran Colombia established, which could be useful for us to threaten Ecuador. Maybe we threaten Ecuador now, actually. Yeah, let's just try and puppet them. What have we got? Russia, US, Mexico, Argentina. We'll see what happens. And war has broken out. Nobody decided to join their side, which is really wonderful to see. Sorry, but literally no one cares about you. Feels bad. I wonder, though, if I can actually get my generals there. Yes, I can. Fantastic. Okay, let's quickly mobilize a couple of these armies. They're probably going to take a couple of weeks to get there. But we had our headquarters with some reserves, 9 of them, in fact, just kind of holding this line. So there was no threat of Ecuador invading, which gave us plenty of time to pull in our troops and take a look at that. It's Brazilian victory after Brazilian victory over on the left-hand side of the screen. Well, I think we can probably consider this a fairly safe take as they repel me. Let's just mobilize our last dudes and push them in. Just to be safe. It is a little bit of a difficult passage through there, I'm sure. But there's the crack we need into the Andes HQ. Okay, that will still frustratingly not quite connect Brazil. Look at this. But that's okay. Peace deal's ready. That means that the capitulation will come through any time now. The puppet, I mean. And Austria demands that we submit to them and become their protectorate. Well, that feels like a bad deal for me, Austria. No. No. Okay, if we close this view, you'll notice, that's right, Ecuador is now this wonderful Brazilian kind of tealy, greeny color. Fantastic. It's really just Peru, Bolivia, maybe Venezuela that look like they could be colored in, or Argentina. How do I want to play this? I think I want to just flat out conquer Peru, Bolivia. So to do that, we'll highlight a state. Let's take this nice flat one down here to start with, and we'll conquer Santa Cruz. We'll put that war goal out there. That will now start this process of swaying and bringing in bigger, smaller powers. I'll be really, really scared if the Russians decide to join a side that's not mine. But outside of the Russians, I think we'll be all right. What I need to do now, while the sort of war goals are building, is figure out which territories I'd like to add to this one, if I can afford to. Let's push for another conquered state. I'll add Acre. Why not? All of this is going to add a little bit of infamy for us. There are other actions, of course, as you can see here, that I could take. I don't mind the infamy so much, though. Okay, I've added in a total of 5 territories. We've got the atmospheric engine and private schools. Everything is coming up Brazil. Checking in on the sway countryside, you'll see that nobody is being swayed, so we're not going to have 561 mobilized Russian battalions turn up here. Thank goodness for that. They've all declared their neutrality or gone away. And now it's time. This is the biggest war probably, I imagine, that the world, at least in this Victoria free time frame, has seen so far. We're obviously going to pull in our toady allies, Paraguay, Ecuador. Come on in. They are pulling in Chile on their side as well. Okay, so first off, we can see that they've got 42 units on this front, and they are pushing hard. What I should do is activate all of our conscripts. And then recruit a general if we need an additional one. Let's get another one in Brazil HQ, one from the armed forces. Sounds good to me. They've got 12 dudes. Let's mobilize them immediately and get them to that front line. My other question is, I wonder if maybe we could leave this front line alone, leave the Ecuadorians to their mess. Yeah, maybe we divert all firepower onto this front line to stop this push here. We can also get a general here in Gran Colombia, and they will be able to push through with our 9 dudes we have over this way, and also reinforce this front line. So, there we go. We have now 4 of our battalions on this line to try and stop this. Actually, it's got to be said, nice advance. Looks like we've managed to sort of stop it in its tracks now, though. We're at least evenly matched with them. In fact, a little more than. We should now start to see the victory flags turn our way. The Ecuadorian push is actually turning out to be the best one by far. It looks like they are completely unaware of us moving this way, or at least they weren't prepared because they've put everything on this push. And actually, it started off working really well. Look, they made some gains. However, we've pushed through and captured the Andes HQ in our first victory of the Uruguay-Amazonas front. Yikes. Ecuadorian front, though, going well. Happy with that. Let's get railways. Obviously a massively important part of the Victorian industrial age. We'll have to get those. I think we're going to have that well and truly dusted. The following war goals were enforced on Chile, so they capitulated, but we didn't actually try to claim any of their territories, so no need. What we did try and claim, though, were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the Bolivian ones. Yes! I hate that we left them with that one, but it's impassable, so who cares? Nice work. Very happy with that. Argentina also stretched through and grabbed some stuff of its own. What a horrendous-looking continent this is turning into. And Sierra Leone was annexed by the Brits. Okay. Right. I reckon we don't muck around and we target Argentina immediately. And I feel like because they're quite big, we could turn them into Brazilian Argentina and then maybe take some of these Chilean territories last. So why don't we try and puppet them? Yes. Let's start this war goal. I'm feeling quite sort of quite bolshy at the moment. It's good. It's good. Oh, and would you look at that? Our extreme power meant that the Argentinians just buckled under our feet. Time to reform the government. We might look to boot the industrialists out, maybe. At least if it helps us maybe build a little bit of extra legitimacy, because we do have quite a few radicals. Quite a few. We'll leave the Liberal Party of the Catholic Church and the intelligentsia in together, oddly, and it'll boost us up a little bit. Great. Basically, we just kicked the industrialists out and said, thanks very much, we're going to keep governing. Okay, all right, good. Could look to pass some more laws. A little bit difficult with the nature of our government, although not impossible. I would like to pass census suffrage. This would let us complete the journal entry Path to Liberalism and liberalize Brazil. Okay, I'm going to demand that they return the state because, I mean, look at it. It's mine. Oh no, and there's a freaking uprising. Oh, jeez. Okay, some unhappy people with us down here, understandably. Let's mobilize our armies and deal with them. We've got rebellion all over the empire. This is what I get for expanding too hard, too fast. Our country is in a state of civil war. All because I wanted people to vote. Unbelievable. However, I'm going to push this through because this is our path to liberalism, and liberal we will be. Oh my goodness, they bombed a building. It's not ideal. Devastation. Sure. And war with New Granada has broken out! And an uprising has broken out! Luckily, my armies were mobilized and ready on these front lines, so we should be able to just quickly squash this, pull everything back in, and continue our goal of fighting with, and hopefully taking, or at least pacifying, in the case of Bolivia, everybody on our continent. And with accepting of a peace deal, we were able to grab that little state of ours. Jeez. Why did it have to turn into a giant conflict? Honestly. What is going on down here? Brazilian Argentina. Oh, go! Yes! The beauty of bringing people into our Brazil is now Argentina is doing our dirty work down here and colonizing this for us. Fantastic. This state here, geez, I mean, look how ugly that is. Railways are unlocked. Fantastic. For a little bit of fun, let's build a railway through the Amazon. I mean, access is pretty poor through here. Let's do a little something like this. Large number of Central American people are migrating to Tasmania. Insane. Insane. We're friends with the French and the British, but we never really have been with the Netherlands. We could cause a massive diplomatic incident and take this tiny little state here. I think we do that. France, you want to get in on my side? Hey, start a little world war? They do. That's great. And it's war! And Spain, for whatever reason, has decided to jump in and defend the Netherlands. Not that it's going to matter, because the French and I, in fact, it's really largely thanks to the French, are here to quickly gobble up this little territory. Thank you kindly. Okay, so our conflict has kind of awkwardly stretched across here into Africa. I mean, I guess we can send some dudes to just quickly tidy that up, eh? Also, of course, here. This is problematic. I suppose Brazil can show its might on the world stage by sending Eduardo and 17 units over to help the French effort in this war of Brazil versus the Netherlands that we started, and I don't know if it will ever actually finish. But we'll find out. All for this tiny little territory that I absolutely didn't need. The good news is, in terms of losses, we're way lower. Wounded, we're lower. Cost of war, we're lower. And of course, war score, we're higher. Conservative Party swept to electoral victory. Absolute landslide. Holy moly. See you later. See you later. You're all out of here. And the Conservatives are in. With also the Liberal Party. What an unusual grand coalition this is. Okay, some war goals were enforced on Spain. I mean, that's good. And look at that. We can make peace. Conquer Dutch Guyana. Yes! Oh, that is so cool. Fantastic. This is a place only for my friends, and you're not allowed here. It's time for our final move. We conquer Bolivia. This is it. This is literally what we've been building for this whole time. Let's have a look. Hopefully no one will jump in on any odd sides and get in our way. That would be pretty annoying. It looks like they're not going to. So let's mobilize our generals. They've declared war immediately because of Ecuador right there, which is actually good news for us. Because it means, although we're not quite prepared, we'll be able to sneak in. And war with Bolivia has broken out. And I feel like this one's going to be fairly short-lived, actually. Probably not a huge deal. Ooh, a little bit of a counterattack going on down here with my ally, though. We might send some extra forces down that way, just to ensure that this front line gets pushed in nicely like the rest. Thank you very much. And let's take this territory here, change that to a capital, yes, and there we go. We have our coastal connection. Poor Bolivia has just been absolutely maimed. My goodness. My goodness. And with that, you know, I am pretty happy. I am pretty happy with this Brazil we've built. Thank you so much to Paradox for hooking me up with early access to this poor huddled masses. Have a cultural migration target in one of your states. Okay, well, cool. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I'm really looking forward to delving into a load more of Victoria 3, and you should expect to see a load more right here on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.